I want to share a story with you that I hope inspires you. There's a story about resilience and determination, and I tell you sometimes that when we face adversity, it's just mind-boggling, and sometimes we feel we defeated. And but one thing you can never do is give up. You always have to push forward, and I hope this story, it kind of helps you because this here is an air compressor. But you don't know what it is. The air compressor comes out of a Mercedes-Benz 4000 engine. If you know anything about those engines, they are nightmares to work on. That's why they don't make them anymore. Just too many hassles. And for the last month, I've been having problems with this air compressor, and it's been going bad on me. Now it's not a safety issue to where it will take away my brakes. If I lose my air pressure, it's just not going to let me run. I won't have no gears. So wherever this thing goes bad, it's where I sit. And for the last month, I've been thinking about this in the back of my head. I'm a really loyal guy with my customers. The last thing I want to do is be on the side of the road with one of the loads. That's no way to do business. And but my problem was I could not find anyone who's willing to change this. And people are telling me, oh, it's not your compressor, it's the unloader valve, which just sits right inside here on top of the compressor. But the only problem with this is one piece. They do not sell this piece here in North America. They do in Germany, but it wasn't being in Germany was not helping me here. And I called Freightliner. Freightliner was telling me, oh no, you got to replace the whole air compressor. And I couldn't even get them to give me a quote to doing the job. They told me they didn't really want to mess with it. And they said, well, if we do mess with it, it's 700 for the compressor, and you're looking at a minimum of 1900, anywhere from 24 to 2800, and it might even be higher than that. That was make me cry. And I came on social media. I asked people if they knew anyone, if someone can probably come help me do this, and really not too many people have a lot of knowledge on these engines. So, and doing a job like this is I guess as challenging as this was, because this here bolts the camshaft in the back of the engine, and it's just intimidating looking at it. It really is. So trying to get it out of there, and there was so many things in the way of getting to this thing. I was on top of my engine, and if you want to see the pictures that I actually did with this, I posted this on my Facebook on Trucker Jim LLC. You see the photos, you see how intense it really was. But the fact is, I had no choice but to try to do this myself. So I could not find anyone else to do it for me. And thank God I have some really good friends. I have a couple of buddies that say, hey, you know what? We don't know much about it either, but we're not going to let you do it alone. And they didn't. They stood with this. 3 days it took us to do this thing. A day and a half to get to this thing, and almost a day to put it back in because we couldn't figure out how to put it back into the truck. But I want to share one little thing with you that's pretty cute and pretty funny. It's about God, how God works in mysterious ways. You know, before I changed this, I didn't want to mess with this, so I kept messing with my air dryer. I changed three of them. The first one I took out was my original one, was bad. I ordered one that came in. It had all banged. It was all banged up, but it wasn't working. So I took it out, put another one in, and after three air dryers, I realized, okay, the air dryer is not the problem. This is the problem. I have to tackle it. And when we're trying to put this in, we knew that we had to have 4 pressure points at each side to get this thing in, because this thing weighs about 30 pounds. It's heavy, and there's no room to get down there and balance it in there. So we needed something to hold this thing up and push it in at the same time. And it was only really, there's three of us, but one of my buddies were handicapped. He couldn't really do much. So it was really two of us working on this. So one of us had a flywheel, the crowbar and the flywheel, and we're pushing down, and we had the four bolts pushing us in. But the problem was we didn't have 4 long bolts. It has 2 long bolts and 2 short bolts. And we could not find 2 long bolts to fit this. And I tell you, I was like, I was at the end, I was starting to feel dizzy because I'm like, man, we're going to fail at this. I'm going to lose my business. And at the last spur of the moment, I just realized I know where I can find 2 long bolts. I've changed that air dryer in my truck so many times, I know that thing like heart. I know all the bolts are at, and it had 3 long bolts are in there. And I knew if I took 2 of them out, the one last bolt would still hold the air dryer in place. And we took them, put them in the top. We had the 2 long bolts that came with it originally, and we pushed that thing in, and it snapped into place. And I tell you, the job was done. The hard part, we had to put the truck back together again. But and it took really, what it took for me to think about that was just walking away for a minute, because we were so just upset. And the one thing about what we didn't do either, we never talked about our misery. We never talked about giving up. All we talked about is what else we can do. And we never allowed each other to think that, hey, we can't get this job done. Now, when it was all said and done and we was in there, hey, we were sharing our doubts, but we didn't do it in the open because when you speak things into existence, when you speak things out loud, you speak them into existence. And with me, with this, failure was not an option. I had no choice, and I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my friends. I'm thankful for God, and you know. So for everyone out there who sees this video, and a lot of people telling me, hey, you gotta take that shot, Jim. Don't do it yourself. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. But I couldn't find a shop that's willing to take it because they didn't want the hassle. They know what's involved of taking these things out, and it's not easy. Not at all. But it's done, and I hope that really encourages you, inspires you. Because if I can do something like this and not really be a mechanically inclined guy, you can get through what you're going through too. You know, just walk away for a minute, walk away for a day, and I promise you come back at it, you'll have a different perspective, different thoughts, and you get through your situation, get through whatever you're going through. Do something like what I'm doing. Encourage someone else as I'm encouraging you to get through your adversity as I got through mine. All right. You'll have a good day. God bless. As always, drive safe.